What's going on, guys? So it's a beautiful Sunday morning today, and I got some parts that I'm installing on my Subaru, and I'm pretty damn excited. I've been waiting for these for a while. I haven't really bought anything for the Subaru in a long time, but now that I'm about to pay it off, I'm just gonna start spending some money on it. Pretty excited about this kit that I bought. I feel like it's gonna make the wheels pop on the Subaru. It's gonna make the entire car pop. So without further ado, here it is. Got the Rotora big brake kit, and I'm gonna be installing that right now. So stay tuned. Alright, so that's like the first time I started the car up in a week. I really don't drive this car. I have a daily, which is over there, my Civic, and then that's my wife's daily, and this is the weekend car. She's got about 31,000 miles on it, going on 5 years in June, I believe. So yeah, I hardly drive it, but super excited to install this big brake kit. It's gonna look so damn good. I'm also replacing the lug nuts. I got purple lug nuts right now. I bought some red ones that I'm going to be replacing it with. So yeah, let's get it started. Alright, so we're going to do a little unboxing here of the kit. Show you guys what's inside. So I got both front and back. So this is the front kit right here. These things are massive. Look at these things. So 4-pot, which means 4 cylinders. And this is the stock system right here. Look at the difference. I know it's kind of hard to see the difference there, but when I take it off, I'll go ahead and compare it. And then these are the rotors right here. That's a 2-piece rotor, obviously slotted. And this thing is massive as well. That's gonna fill in that wheel pretty nice. It's gonna look good. So right now we're just gonna jack up the car, and we'll get started on this thing. Alright guys, so I got the car lifted up in the air, all 4 corners. Got the wheels taken off now. And we're about ready to start the process. I'm going to start with the front brakes first, and then I'm going to do the rear brakes. The rear brakes, they require that you remove this dust shield here, so it's going to take me a minute to cut this out. Whereas the front dust shield here, it's got bolts, so it comes off real easy. You just take off like 3 bolts, I think. Before I get started, I just want to give you guys a little rundown of the parts needed to do this swap. So obviously you need the big brake kit, the rotors. I got some extra Subaru brake fluid, some Loctite right here that just fell down. for the bolts so that they don't shake loose or vibrate loose. Got some brake cleaner, and then I got a little makeshift bleeder kit here with a little Costco bottle, and then I got my new lug nuts here in red, and that's pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward install. Rotora does supply instruction manuals for both the front and the rear, and they're pretty self-explanatory, pretty detailed. It's got pictures and stuff. It tells you how to figure out the orientation left and right of the car. It's pretty easy if you're experienced in that. And yeah, it shows you how to remove the dust shield and all that good stuff, how to install the brakes, how to install the pads on the calipers, and yeah, all that fun stuff. So we'll get started now. Alright, so this is my first time installing the big brake kit. I've never done it before. I've changed out pads, I've changed out rotors, and it's pretty easy. It doesn't look like it's too much more work than that, because essentially you're taking off the pads and the rotors, with the exception of the lines, the brake lines. So you're going to have to bleed the system, obviously. And that's pretty much the only thing that I've never done. I imagine it's pretty simple, and we're going to dive into it right now. So it looks like you got a 17mm bolt back here. That's probably going to take some force to get off. But before we do that, so that I don't damage the brake line, I'm going to take a 12mm and remove the bracket here for the brake line. Alright, so I just realized my camera wasn't recording, which kind of sucks, but basically what I've done so far is just remove the caliper. So you got two bolts right here holding it in together. So this sits in here like this on the rotor. So just remove the two bolts. This thing comes out. You can set it on the floor. It's got enough line to do that. And then the rotor itself, it'll come out. You just kind of got to hit it, tap it everywhere, and then it should pull out. I just finished cleaning this with the wire brush and the hub, and now we're ready to mount the new rotor. I need to remove this line so that I can install the new brake lines when they come in, or when I grab them. Alright guys, so for this flare nut in here, I don't know if you can see it, but I try to take it off with just a regular open-ended wrench, and it wasn't working out, so I had to go get this line wrench, aka flare nut wrench, so that it grabs it a little better, because it's pretty tough. So this should do the trick as far as getting that line off now. And then I also bought just a set of little caps so that I could block off the line once it starts to drip fluid down. And then I'm also going to set some cardboard down there so that I don't make a mess on my driveway. Alright guys, so this flare nut was giving me hell right here. I had to end up torching it with some MAP gas, and finally I was able to break that nut loose. So now I could remove the brake line and continue the whole process. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but I'm glad I broke it loose now, so I could get this going. Wasting time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little cap in it, so that it doesn't brake fluid all over my car and stuff. Before I do that, I'm going to take off that bracket. Let's see. There we go. Pop it out like so. Back it up here. fluid from leaking out. And then make sure to clean up any fluid leaking, because it's really corrosive, especially to paint. There it is, got that out. So now we're ready to continue and get the new lines mounted, get the new calipers mounted. Here's the old brakes right here. The old caliper and brake pad. Alright, so now that I got the brake line taken off, looks like we're gonna install the bracket itself that holds the caliper. And it gives you torque specs too, so I'm gonna torque it down 70 foot-pounds. And then we're gonna put the rotor on, and then we'll end up putting the caliper on. And I will put some Loctite on the bolts so that they don't shake loose or vibrate loose or anything like that. And so we're gonna mount the caliper bracket with the same bolts that it came with. So I'm just throwing on a little bit of Loctite thread lock, and this bracket mounts on the front side, and the screw's gonna grab these threads from the back side. And then obviously these studs here we're gonna be facing out. That's what's gonna grab onto the caliper. And it doesn't take much Loctite. You just gotta dab it a little bit and that's it. The old torque wrench. And we're going to set our torque wrench to 70 foot-pounds. Right around there. And torque this bad boy down. And I'm going to grab an extension because it's getting kind of tight. Alright, there it is. And just tighten it till you hear the click. And that'll tell you that you're at 70. Now we're going to do the bottom one. Don't think I need the extension for this one. There it is, 70 foot-pounds. Alright, and so now comes the fun part. Get to assemble the calipers. Get all my stuff ready here. So we got the nuts and the washers for the studs on the new bracket. And then we have these crush washers and banjo bolts for the brake lines on the caliper side. And so we're at the point now where we are going to assemble the brake pads onto the caliper, and they're super easy to do. So everything's labeled, everything's marked. On this caliper itself, I got an L right there for left-hand side. And the way you figure out the orientation on the car is as if you're sitting inside the car. So left side would be the driver's side, right side would be the passenger side. Got the new brake pads here. Say to just lay the caliper down flat, and then insert the spring clip. So then it says insert one brake pad into position. Doesn't matter which one, just as long as you got the curvature right. So just kind of shove it in there. Ow, try not to smash your finger. And then that sits in there real nice. It's pretty easy. This thing's super easy to install. And obviously make sure that the friction side of the brake is going to be facing towards the caliper, and this is obviously the friction side. And basically that's it for the brake pads. They're ready to go. Next step after this is to install the brake lines. So I'm just going to install this hand tight for now. And then that's ready to go. So next up here is going to be the rotor. We're about ready to install the rotor. This just inserts in here, and maybe put one lug nut or two to hold it in place while you put the caliper on. There it is. And that is one beefy rotor. Alright guys, so unfortunately my memory card ran out of memory. I forgot to delete all the pictures from the last photo shoot. But we went ahead and installed the caliper and the rotor, and so this is what it looks like. Really nice, really beefy. Install overall is pretty easy, actually very easy. And the only difficult part was getting this flare fitting off, this flare nut for the brake line. But other than that, everything's pretty easy. The instructions are here. They're very clear. They tell you what to torque them down to, what tools to use. I mean, this is the Bible right here for installing these rotors. Rotora did an excellent job with their instructions, so shout out to Rotora. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just tie in the brake line. That's the very last piece. And then after that, I'm gonna install the rest of the corners, and the other side's obviously gonna be exactly the same. The rear is gonna be very similar, with the exception of having to take off the shroud. I'm gonna have to cut that thing off because there's no bolts holding it in. It's attached to the hub. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and knock everything else out. But you guys got the bulk of it, and this is what it looks like. I'll definitely take some cinematics after I'm done. And hopefully in a little bit we'll probably go do some photos, go do a photo shoot, and so I could post those pictures on Instagram. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. My Instagram is SickMedia, S-I-K Media, or just ask on the comment section of my YouTube. Thank you guys. Alright guys, got the first one complete. Just threw on the wheels right now. I was positive that they were gonna fit, but you can't be too careful, can't be too sure. So I went ahead and threw it on, just mocked it up to make sure it clears, and it definitely clears. There's way more than enough space with these wheels. And well, this is what it looks like. It's not the final. Still got to take it off, and I got to bleed the brake system. But and I also got the red lug nuts that I haven't opened up yet, but that's what it's gonna look like. So gonna go ahead and move on to the other sides and finish this up for you guys so that I could go do a photo shoot today. All right guys, thanks for watching.